In this session, we will explore how the relationship between art and technology is evolving rapidly, and the two seemingly contradictory disciplines are now bonding closer than ever before. We will learn how the MAP team seeks to deliver a pioneering new way of experiencing art by enmeshing technology throughout. Moderating this session is Meeta Malhotra, founder of the Hard Copy. Meeta is a leading brand and designing consultant as well as a serial entrepreneur. And joining her on the panel is Abhishek Poddar, founder of MAP, Museum of Art and Photography. Abhishek is a prominent collector and a patron of the arts in India. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage both Meeta and Abhishek.
Can you hear us? Yeah. Okay. Great. So good morning, everyone. And here we are today, Abhishek, to talk about art at an ASCOM enclave. That should be interesting. So we'll kick off by, diving straight into what makes MAP different. MAP is the world's, not just India's, but the world's first digital museum. What does that mean?
Well, Meeta, we were to open physically in 2020, and we had announced a date, but COVID changed all that. So we stuck to the date and decided to launch digitally. And little did we realize what we were in for. So, pretty much everything in that year was a first. So it's not a great achievement, but yes,
you're being modest.
We became the first museum to launch digitally.
And this whole emphasis that you've had on technology, and we're going to talk about it and show the audience some of the initiatives. Where did it come from? So is it that you are interested in technology? Is it a fact that we're located in, MAP is located in Bangalore? Was it the pandemic? Why this, not many of the museums have this emphasis on technology beyond putting their collections online. So why this interest in tech?
I guess we didn't have a choice. If you talk about my particular involvement or interest in technology, I would be lying if I said that I know anything about it. But the fact that we have some amazing people on our board and in the patrons who supported MAP are some of the greatest tech companies that we have. And it was their wisdom that this is what we should be doing. In fact, our CTO jokes that, his room was in the basement and now he's got the corner office. And the world realized that that was the only way to go forward, and we just adopted that. In fact, the very first Zoom call we had in the pandemic, we were wondering, what are we going to do? And it was this analogy that when a tiger is chasing you, you don't have to be faster than the tiger. You just have to be faster than the slowest runner over there. And it was the first time every museum in the world was shut. And we didn't have to be the best, but we just had to do something, because in history, whether you were the oldest, you were the biggest, you were the smallest, you hadn't even started, you were all on the same line. So we just decided to get up and start doing something. And that's what we did.
And these partners you talked about, right? The tech companies. Do you want to name some of them? I think a lot of people from those companies are probably in the audience.
So we have Wipro, Infosys, Mindtree, Sonata, Sasken, Microsoft. I'm sure I'm missing a few, but all of them are supporting MAP.
That's an impressive list. So whoever's not on that list should contact Abhishek straight after this. Okay, so let's dive into some of the initiatives. I think when we just say that MAP is tech first, I think it'll be good for everyone to see what you mean by that. So we're going to start with this. We'll start with this one. And what has interested me about the directions you've taken with MAP is that instead of it being sort of a broadcast, it's always been an interactive initiative where you've involved the audience and the users. And I think Bouquet of Hope is one such initiative. Do you want to talk a little about that?
Sure. So this came up literally in March of 2020. The world had just shut down. And it was everybody had a long face reading uncertain news as to what's going to happen. And We had the migrant labor crisis where people were going back. Of course, COVID hadn't really hit India at that time, but there was just this despair all around. And everybody was asking for money. And we decided to bring a little bit of hope and cheer. And we said, okay, we are also asking for something, but we are not asking for money. All we are asking for is for you to contribute a flower. And to make this the biggest bouquet in the world. And it actually started with the 25 flowers that you see on screen, which was another story. It was for an occasion that we had commissioned. So we call this the Bouquet of Hope, and you could post a flower. It could be a picture that you had taken, or, you know, if there was a motif of flower on a dress or something else, or you could make a drawing of one or whatever. And now there are God knows how many tens of thousands of flowers on this bouquet, and
Lovely.
people from all over the world. This got picked up by several news, so it just, you know, it was adding hope that way. And how it manifested, because Mother's Day was coming, and every florist in the world was shut. So how do you give flowers to your mom that day? So this became a virtual bouquet that you could give from the Bouquet of Hope. So it's become now a gifting site, but there's no money involved. So you can wish somebody, you can choose which bouquet you want to give. You can make a bouquet of as many flowers as you like, and you can even post your name there. So if I want to choose all the flowers that Meeta has contributed, or if I just say I want pink flowers, or I just want orchids, or whatever, and there are templates of messages. So now thousands of people are using this to wish people happy birthday or happy Mother's Day or whatever.
That's wonderful. And it's still live,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you
very
can go
much
and
so.
try it out. So let's, you know, since I think this audience is, a lot of people are from technology companies, let's dive into one of the initiatives that you're doing with a partner, which is interwoven with Microsoft, I think. So how does that work? You know, tell us about the initiative, and then what is your role, what is Microsoft's role?
So Interwoven really came out through AI for Cultural Good that Microsoft has. I think every year they choose one partner. And they selected us to do this with. And it's a global platform. It's not just an India-centric thing. And here this idea came out through something else that we had done with FedEx before. And they really liked the idea, and they said, can we come up with something else? So Interwoven typically is the textile collection at MAP, which Microsoft has helped digitize. And through AI, you go on a journey of discovery, and they've linked now about 15 other museum collections to this. So you might choose one object at our thing, and that opens up another 25, 30 objects, which is connected not the way we would look at it, but how AI would make those connections. And when you click on the next one, it shows you a new set of things that open up. So there's museums like the Smithsonian, the Cleveland Museum, the Rietberg, the Met, that have all participated in this. And it's actually an endless loop.
Wow.
So how one thing is connected to something else, and how you can go on a journey of discovery. And actually, because of the success of this, they are now looking at opening this to far beyond just textiles, to Indian art outside, and using Interwoven to do that. So that's the conversation. That's, of course, that's an ambitious project which wouldn't take just 2 years that this took, but possibly be at least a 15-year project.
That's wonderful. So if you're interested in something, you let AI make the connections for you.
And it shows you how it's doing that.
Wow.
So I'll give you one example just to illustrate the point. So in one of the stories, somebody had clicked on a brocade skirt. And one of the 20, 25 things that had opened was this French hand fan. And we were wondering, how is a brocade skirt connected to this hand fan? And you and me wouldn't make that connection. But the reason AI picked that up is because if you turn the hand fan down, it's the same shape as the skirt.
Wow.
Now,
Okay,
one would never even think about that normally.
Yeah.
So when
That's
you ask,
interesting.
what does Microsoft do in this and what do we do? So Microsoft has different partners that they would help for the technology part of it.
Okay.
And then you ideate what you would like, what the use case could be, and how to make it engaging for the people. So we had the Map Academy team working on this. It took about 18 months to do. And there are 2,000 objects from the MAP's textile collection which have been digitized, and about 30,000 or 50,000 other objects that it links to at these other museums.
Wow.
So this entire piece was done jointly between us.
You mentioned Map Academy. I think we should just tell everybody what that is.
So MAP has two parts to it, MAP the museum and MAP Academy. MAP Academy is the educational part of it. And the distinction is MAP, as the museum talks about the collection, versus MAP Academy talking about Indian art in general around the world. And MAP becomes only one source of information for MAP Academy, like any other museum or institution around the world. The job of the MAP Academy is, A, to build India's first ever encyclopedia of Indian art. And in 3 years of work, we launched it just in April this year. It started with a little over 2,000 entries. This is, again, a 5-year project. Every year, we're going to add the same number. So it's a team of 30 people. It's guided by an academic review panel, which are experts on each domain around the world. Mm-hmm. It is totally jargon-free, without any agenda, except to educate and get people interested in art. And the good thing is that many corporates and many tech companies are now using our content rather than anybody else's to write about, a space, a craft, an artist. And it covers 10,000 years of Indian art history, from movements to artist biographies to built heritage to crafts to textiles. So that's one part of MAP Academy. The second part is building courses. And everything we do is online and free, which is, so we are looking at 6 different courses. They'll be broken up into introductory and even diploma courses. And we've just launched the pilot for the textile course right now. So if anyone's interested, you can go on and do that. And the third is doing a timeline of Indian art.
Nice. So I think we're short of time. Very quickly, let's talk about Museum Without Borders, which I think is fascinating because it then takes MAP so much more, takes it outside of the physical space that it's in.
So this also happened during the pandemic, Meeta, when travel had stopped, every museum in the world was shut. How do you show people art? And this idea came from one of our international advisory board members. A very simple idea. You take 2 objects, one from the MAP collection, one from the partner museum's collection, and you link them together with a common story.
Lovely.
It could be material, it could be motif, it could be artist, it could be period, it could be technique. And you have one curator from either side, so it's a digital collaboration. And you use the product with the information that you have and link it to other things in the collection and from other museums around the world, and you make it into a video. So we launched this. This is what we had done with FedEx. And every month, we release one. Mm-hmm. We've got about 23 or 24 already done, and there are about 50 in the pipeline, and they're museums from around the globe.
Wow.
From Africa, South America, Australia, Japan, Europe, America, and some of the names that you see up are the ones that we've already done.
So I think we've covered a lot of the initiatives, Abhishek, and you have perhaps a lot of people from Bangalore and outside here. What would be your message to all of them?
Well, we are opening on the 11th of December, and we have a public opening from the 11th to the 18th. So please make this your museum, come, and let art find you. It's just the most incredible experience that you can have with education, technology, entertainment, and it's free. So bring whoever you like, come for that opening. We have 4 exhibitions that we are starting with and a host of programming right through the week. We've got films that are happening. We've got, we are showcasing Museums Without Borders. We've got Shumantro Ghoshal, who's done works from the MAP collection that are being showcased. There are educational things that we've done for kids. So there's something for every age group. And at the end of the day, our entire mission is just to make art exciting again. And you guys are not only just welcome, if you all have suggestions, if you want to be involved, there's space for everyone there.
So we'll see you at MAP in December. And I think if we have time, I don't know, the timer isn't, there, okay. So we still have
5 minutes.
We still have 5 minutes. Okay, so before we sort of sign off, perhaps we should play this, we'll play you something from the great master himself, but tell us a little about that initiative before we do it.
So this is something that Accenture has done for us, and this was a collaboration where we've actually brought MF Hussain back to life. So this is a digital twin of Hussain, where you can speak to him and ask him anything you like, and he answers not just in his voice, but what he has actually spoken in his life.
That's amazing.
So Accenture did say that we are not going to make him smarter every time you speak with him, because we want to be totally true to whatever he had said. Now, finding enough stuff that he had said, because this was a while ago when not everything was recorded, so we had to find proof to every question that we would ask that is actually recorded in Hussein's voice or in a print interview, because nothing that we are asking him is stuff that he has not actually said, except for a few smart answers. Like, people would try to game it that, tell us your real relationship with so-and-so. So then he would say, that you should have asked me when I was still alive, or something like that. Or if you were going to ask him, when is COVID going to go away? So of course, stuff like that, he would say,
Yeah.
I'm not sure I have the answer to that. But so this is what they did, and we started doing this project, in fact, before COVID started, because we were going to be opening that year. And then we realized we don't know when the museum's going to open.
Right.
So we've now put it online. It's on the digital museum, so anyone can access it. And we'll just show you a little recording of how that works.
Yeah. So before we play the recording, just sort of a last word on this intersection of technology and art. What's your vision? I mean, where do you see this going with MAP and beyond, this use of technology to sort of widen access to art?
Meeta, I'm not sure I can answer that question, because I had no clue we could do what we've done also.
Right.
I am learning every day, and the great thing is, if you can imagine it, you can do it. So if you can come up with an idea, it can be done. I mean, this is what technology has proved to us.
Yeah.
So it is a limit of our own imagination as to what can happen. And if you ask me in 2020, were we going to do anything digitally? The answer was no. From there to become the first digital museum in the world, and in fact, our digital opening, if we had done it in our auditorium, we would have done it physically with 125 people. We had more than 50,000 people who attended our digital opening. So I don't even know the possibility which is there digitally, and I'll be foolish to even attempt to answer that.
So I think on that note, if you can imagine it can be done. We should hopefully...
So this is in our technology lab, and yeah.
How would you describe yourself?
A painter who prefers to walk barefoot, a filmmaker with a difference, and a lover of the most expensive cars on earth.
So what is your favorite painting?
The painting of the two sisters, who are actually my daughters.
Why do you talk like that?
I'm over 100 years old now. That is why you will find me fumbling when I talk.
Why do you always hold paintbrush in your hand?
I always paint on the run, so I prefer to have my brush with me always.
Just a glimpse. So, but you can all log in and you can ask him anything you like.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give them a big round of applause for that brilliant opening session.